If you've ever felt like you have a ton of people who are interested in your PMU and beauty services, but for whatever reason, they're always slipping through the cracks and they're never booking an appointment with you, this video is going to change how you look at your beauty sales process forever. And at the end of the day, most people like to blame it on external factors like the competition and people are price shopping and the economy is bad and it's a slow season. When in fact, it really comes down to just your sales process, which I'm going to help you break down and tweak a couple of things so that you are fully booked consistently moving forward. For those of you who don't know, my name is Danny Tran. I am the founder and CEO of Highstoke Media and PMU World. And over the years, we have worked with over thousands of artists and beauty pros all over the world, helping them scale to 6 and even 7 figures. And this is the exact system that we have implemented across all of our clients, which I am going to break down and share with you today. And so if you stick all the way to the end, there might be a couple of bonuses as well, but we're going to go over some deep stuff and really help you fix the one thing that's going to contribute to you making a lot more money this year. Okay? I want to preface this by saying that a lot of times, most artists and beauty pros like to blame certain external factors. And especially if you are getting a lot of leads and inquiries and engagement, and you always seem to be getting DMs and people inquiring about your services, but you just can't seem to get them over that finish line. Again, it's probably because of your sales process. Now, let's talk about what a sales process is, okay? You have a complete stranger, okay? And then you have a paying, gosh, my handwriting's horrible, paying customer, okay? Money, money, money. Now, if you think about this process and this journey, it's a really long process, right? Think about the last time that you made a big purchase, whether it's 500, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000. It took you quite a bit of time to turn from somebody who is just interested all the way to somebody who's like, okay, I'm ready to buy. Here's my credit card. Here's my money. Let's rock and roll, right? And the problem with most beauty pros and PMU artists is that they think of a sales process as, oh, you're interested? Here's my website. Go ahead and choose a time that works for you and just go ahead and book. When the reality of it is there needs to be a lot more stages and processes within this entire journey here that gets somebody who is a complete stranger, who has never heard of you before, by the way, keep that in mind, to somebody who's willing to pay hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to let you tattoo their face, okay? So there is this long process that most people are skipping. Like it doesn't take just one day to get somebody who's a stranger into a paying customer. It could take 20, 30, 40 touch points until somebody is ready to buy. And so just really understanding that it takes time and it is, again, a very specific process because at the end of the day, if somebody's a complete stranger, they're not going to want to buy tomorrow. There's going to be different stages in between. And again, I'm going to walk you through each one of those, okay? Now, the different stages are, the first is, and I'm going to do this horizontally, okay? So the first is lead in. This basically means you just got a new lead, a new inquiry. Somebody just signed up, they clicked on your ad, maybe they sent you a DM. This doesn't necessarily mean they're committed or a client yet. This just means that you got a new inquiry, okay? They could be super cold, maybe they've never heard of you before. They could be hot, meaning they came through referral, they know a lot about you, or maybe they've been following you for quite some time and they just want to inquire some more. But it's really important to know that this stage just means lead in. This is a new lead, a new inquiry. They're not committed whatsoever. They just, again, inquired, okay? Now, the next stage is responded. This is really important to understand, like, especially if you are running ads, right? If they click on an ad, sometimes you get a lot of leads. Maybe you run ads before in the past, but they haven't responded yet. Really, what you want to do to get them to that next stage is ask open-ended questions, which we'll go over in a little bit here, to get them to actually respond. The very first thing that you want to do is initiate a conversation, get them interested, okay? Initiating the conversation is all you need to do at this stage to get them to respond. And this, again, gets you a little bit closer to them becoming a close client, okay? Then you have follow-up. This basically means somebody says something along the lines of like, I'm actually interested, but just not right now, or there's some logistical thing in the way. I want to get my brows done, but I have to come back from vacation. So can you follow with me in about 2 or 3 months? Okay. And so again, I just want to rewind a little bit. So from somebody who has become a new lead, they just inquired, to them responding to you. And then if, let's say, they do want to follow up later, or now it's not the right time, that's the next stage. Okay. Then you want to get somebody to the consultation stage. Oh my God, my handwriting. Okay. This is the consultation stage. Okay. So for everybody that does respond, okay, your goal is to get them to book a consultation, whether it's virtual or whether it's in person. And again, I'm going to break that down a little bit here in a little bit after we go through the individual stages. But everybody who does respond, you do want to get them to the point where they're doing a virtual consultation, an in-person consultation, just to make sure that obviously what they're looking for is what you can provide and it's going to be a good fit. Okay. After the consultation, you then have booked appointment. Okay. This means somebody actually paid you the deposit and they have actually put a time on your calendar. Okay. And then you have closed deal, meaning somebody has come in and they actually paid you the money for the service. Okay. And then you have repeat customer. So after you close the deal, if you're offering recurring services, or if you have like a secondary or a third service, you want to get somebody who has come in for a great service already and they love your work, they had a great world-class experience with you. You want to get them to the point where they become a repeat customer. Okay. And so again, this is basically the different stages of your sales pipeline. That's the best way to look at that, right? So lead in basically means cold traffic. I'm gonna make that blue here. Okay. And then here is where all the money is. So as you can see, there's different stages as part of this sales process, and you cannot rush the sale. And that really is one of the biggest problems, specifically in this industry. Again, if somebody just becomes a lead and then you as the artist or the beauty pro, you basically say, okay, great, go ahead and book the call, book a time on my website. Here's the link. Go ahead and figure all that out, right? And so again, you want to take your time, and there's different stages, and you want to strategically take somebody who is a new lead. You want to get them to respond to you. You want to get them to a point where they book the consultation. If they need a follow-up later, you move them to that stage right there. And then once they book the consultation, obviously your goal is to get them to book the appointment with you. And then once they book the appointment with you, your goal is to get them to come in for the actual service so they can pay you for the service. And then once they actually pay you for the service, your goal is to get them to become a repeat customer with your reoccurring or your secondary and your third services, right? So I hope that makes sense. Okay, so for this next part, I really want to talk about each one of the stages, and I'm going to go over what it means, why people get stuck, and then how to move to next. So I would highly recommend actually taking notes on this if you don't have a sales process like this. But again, I'm going to talk about what each stage means, why people get stuck, and basically how to move to the next. Okay, so again, in clear detail, lead in essentially means somebody just inquired. They might have just sent you a message. Maybe they just sent you an email. Maybe you have a contact form on your website and they're just inquiring. Maybe you're running a paid ad, which is the most common route. You're running a paid ad and then they click on it and they're wanting to learn more. Okay. Why most people get stuck here, okay, is that most people are treating them like they're ready to buy. Because if somebody just came in as a lead, you get excited, like, oh my God, I have a potential client. Let me go ahead and sell them. But the reality of is somebody just came in as a lead. They're very cold, meaning they have never heard of you before for the most part, or maybe they just found out about you and they need some more nurturing and trust building before they're ready to buy. And again, like that's why most people get stuck. They get a new lead. Hey, great, Jenna, go ahead and go to my website and book a time. And that's where a lot of the drop-offs happen. I would say that's going to be the main part here, treating every single new lead as somebody who's ready to buy, when in fact, you should be asking qualifying questions. You should be understanding what their goals are, why they're trying to do this, and simply getting a response from them, okay? And so your goal is to get them from a lead to a responded. And I just want to paint another picture. If you have run ads before in the past and you've gotten a lot of leads, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that just because you get a lot of leads, it doesn't mean that they're going to be responsive. And in fact, most of them even ghost you. And the reality is most people ghost because you're not saying the right things. You're trying to get them from lead in all the way to close deal without just getting them to respond first. So I just want you to take it like 5 or 7 steps back, right? And just really understand that your only goal at this stage is to get somebody to respond. So, depending on your service, you want to ask questions like, just out of curiosity, thanks for signing up on our ad, for our brow ad. Just out of curiosity, is this your first time getting your brows done? That's it, right? Or you can say, just out of curiosity, what style are you looking to get? Right? Are you looking for more of a powder look or more of like a natural look, right? And so again, your only goal at lead in for a new lead is to get them to respond. And then you just want to ask qualifying questions and you just want to nurture a little bit, okay? And so now jumping into the responded stage, once they first respond to your first message, that is like the main thing that you're looking for. Most people can't even get from, I'm going to make this another color. Most people can't even get from lead in to responded because they're rushing the sale. And so your only goal, again, I just want to emphasize this. I might spend like 20 minutes on this part, but you just want to get them to respond. You can ask a very simple open-ended question or a yes or no question. But my favorite question of all time is just out of curiosity, is this your first time getting your brows done, getting your lips done, getting liner done? Okay. Or if it's something like paramedical, like scars and stretch marks, you say, just out of curiosity, what area are you looking to treat? Okay, you want to make it so easy for them to respond because once they respond to the first one, everything else falls in place. And from there, you can have a back and forth conversation, right? So once they respond, you simply just want to continue asking qualifying questions. So I'm just gonna ask qualifying questions, nurture, ask about goals and whys. Okay. Okay. Those are question marks, by the way. I know I chicken scratch handwriting. So you ask them questions, for example, like just out of curiosity, is this your first time getting your brows done? Okay. Yes. Okay. Amazing. We'd love to help. And what style are you looking for? Are you going for more of like a powder, like makeup look? Or are you looking for a more natural look, hair stroke look? And so you're just asking them questions to really understand, like, okay, what are they going for? When are they looking to get this done? And then even a question like, and then just out of curiosity, like, when were you looking to get this done? Is there a specific event that you're looking to do this for? Or how long have you been thinking about getting this done for? Right. And so you just want to understand them a little bit more. And I would ask about 4 to 5 questions. And a lot of times they'll have questions themselves. And so you can answer that. But the most important thing is that you're asking questions to not only learn about why they're trying to do this, what their goals are, how long they've been thinking about this, but you really want to push the conversation forward, okay? So once you get to the point where you're asking like 3, 4, 5 questions and you're like, okay, I know that this is their first time. I know what style that they're looking for. I know why they're wanting to do this. I know why they want to do this. I know how long they've been thinking about it for. The next best question to push the conversation forward is simply asking when they're looking to get this done. Okay, so like just out of curiosity, like, were you looking to get your brows done this quarter, like later this summer, right? And then you that way you can kind of gauge exactly when they're trying to get it done. And then from there, what you want to do is obviously push them to the consultation. Okay, I'm gonna skip follow-up for now because that's going to be basically a situation where if somebody says like, hey, I'm actually like really interested, can you go ahead and follow with me later because I have X, Y, and Z that I need to get done, or maybe they're just not ready to buy right now. Okay, follow-up is more of like a nurturing that, they're not ready yet. They just found out about you. It's a very expensive and high commitment, high investment type service. So they need some time, right? And so if they're responsive and if things are going great, you want to push them to booking a consultation with you. Okay. So now, with the consultation, what this means is essentially hopping on a call or in person and understanding what their goals are, again, what they're going after, and really mapping out the ultimate dream or goal that you can help them achieve, what it is that they're looking for. So why most people get stuck at this consultation stage is that, number one, they don't even offer it. Okay, that's going to be the main thing. They don't even offer consultations, whether it's virtual or Zoom or in person, and they think that, hey, like somebody should just come in and book this appointment with me. And the reason why most people get stuck is that the consultation stage is going to be your biggest nurturing stage. Okay, where a lot of times, again, people, artists, beauty pros, like, we're rushing the sale. If somebody is, for example, like responsive and say, okay, great, you want to book the appointment with me, versus, okay, well, whenever you have a quick 10, or do you have a quick 10 minutes later today so we can hop on a quick phone call? And that way I can answer all of your questions and concerns. That way I can see what your browse currently look like, and then we can figure out a good game plan from there. Okay. And so again, why people get stuck is that they're still rushing the sale. They're trying to take somebody from, yes, this is my first time and this is what I want, to, okay, you want to book the appointment, pay the deposit right away. There needs to be a somewhat of a consultative process in between. Now, if you're fully booked out right now, yes, you can minimize a lot of these steps, but I would still recommend getting like an assistant to kind of do all of this for you. Because again, if you follow this process step by step by step, it's so easy to get somebody from one stage to the next. And so by offering a consultation, this doesn't even have to be in person, because I know a lot of people watching this are like, well, Danny, I don't have 30 minutes. And again, if you are not booked out right now and your books are empty, you do not have the luxury of complaining about not having time. Okay. If you are not booked out right now, you're not making money, your business is not where you need to be, you need to go above and beyond. You need to make some sacrifices. You need to put in the extra time and hours to do what it takes to get those clients. Okay. However, again, if you are fully booked out right now and like, oh my God, like I really don't have time because I'm booked back to back to back, that's the only excuse you should ever have. You should get an assistant to take care of this consultative process for you. Now, it doesn't even have to be in person. It could be virtual. You could do it over the phone. You could do a FaceTime. You could do a Zoom. It doesn't even have to be a long one. It could be 10 minutes, right? And so whenever somebody is going back and forth with you and you notice that there's a lot of questions like, does this hurt? What's the process like? And things like that. A very simple script is like, hey, Jenna, when do you have a quick 10 minutes later tonight? I'd love to hop on a quick phone or a FaceTime with you. That way I can address all your questions and concerns. And that way I can actually see your browse and see what we can do for you. Okay. And so you always want to push them to some sort of consultation, unless somebody's like, okay, like I'm ready. I know what I want. Like I'm ready to book. Okay. At that point, you can bypass this stage. But I would say for most people, especially cold traffic, offering some sort of consultation is going to be best. And I think a lot of people also take consultation out of context. It's not going to be like the full like 45 minutes where you're like digitally mapping everything for them, unless like obviously that's what they want. But it's simply a quick 5 to 10 minute phone call where you're, again, just asking about what they're looking for, what their goals are, how long have they been thinking about this, and you're just pushing them closer to the point where they actually want to give you that deposit and book with you. And here's like the ninja or the secret sauce, which isn't really a secret sauce. When somebody hears your voice, when somebody sees what you look like and sound like, that trust and rapport, it's immediately built, and it's so much quicker than going in back and forth through text message or email or Instagram, right? And the thing is, sometimes a conversation can drag on for like 2 weeks because you ask a question and then they respond back 2 days later, and then you get back 2 days later, and then they forget and they get back, and then you forget, you get back 3 days later, like, oh my God, I need to follow up. Hopping on a phone call, you can probably reduce like a 2-week conversation to 2 minutes. Okay. So you always want to push for a consultation phone call so that you can nurture. Okay. So I'm going to put this here: nurture, address concerns, and you build rapport. Okay. Going back to follow up. So let's say you have a consultation with somebody and they're like, this is great. Like I want to lock things in. But for whatever reason, they aren't able to because of like a logistical thing, like maybe they're on vacation for a couple of months, or they're in a different state, or they are international, they're visiting another country. Like there's just so many different reasons as to why they can't do it now. You should always still push them to book an appointment, because you can say something along the lines of, hey, that's amazing. So our books are filling up. If you want to book for August, which is in about 3 months here, let's go ahead and get you locked in for that slot. We just need a deposit. And that way we save your spot. We can honor the promotional price that we have, depending on your situation, right? And then you just push them to book the deposit, and you just push their appointment way out. And so that's obviously the first thing. But if you're asking a lot of questions and somebody's like, I need to think about it, I'm not really sure yet, I'm doing my research, we're gonna have other videos on how to address a lot of those objections as well. But you will know if somebody is like simply not ready, and you don't want to obviously push them over and over and over and over again. And so if they are, again, like not ready, but they're not like, no, I don't want this, you want to add them to the follow-up stage here. Okay. So this basically means you have a stage where these are the people that you need to follow up with at some point, depending on the context. And this, I would say, is where most people leave money on the table. okay? Because just because somebody says like, hey, like not right now, just because they aren't interested today does not mean they won't be interested next week, right? Or next month or next year. How many times have you had somebody that's like, well, I've been following you for like 2 years now. I've been kind of scared, but now I'm finally ready. And so you want to have this stage and you want to track everybody who you've had a conversation with, you know what they're looking for, you've nurtured them, you've had this rapport, they know what you look and sound like, they just need to follow up later. And so a lot of times, let's say 3 months from now, going back to the stage and following up, you reactivate or re-engage and reinitiate that excitement and that interest. And this is where, again, a lot of money is made, but a lot of people tend to just not even have that stage, okay? Now, moving back to booked appointment, okay? Booked appointment basically means somebody paid you a deposit and they have a time confirmed on your calendar, okay? And that's really it. I do want to highlight the difference between booked appointment and closed deal, though, because booked appointment essentially just means somebody just paid you a deposit on your calendar. It's a confirmed time, but you haven't closed that deal yet, meaning they haven't come in to get the service done and they haven't paid you in full. And now the only reason why most people get stuck here is that they get a lot of no-shows, they get last-minute cancellations. Somebody does indeed change their mind because, they get scared or they learn something new about the artist and they're like, I actually don't want this, right? And really the best things that you can do here is continue to nurture, get them excited, okay? Now, just because somebody paid you a deposit and has a time on your calendar does not mean that they're actually a paying client yet, okay? And you might say like, well, Danny, like I have my policies and if they don't show up, I'm going to keep their $50 deposit. It's like, well, okay, well, yeah, you keep $50, but why not get them for the full amount that they are actually signing up for, $500, $600, $700, whatever it is. And the why most people get stuck here is, again, like they get a lot of no-shows and they get a lot of last-minute cancellations. People actually don't convert. People change their mind. They get buyer's remorse. And one of the main reasons why that happens is that you're not continuing to build trust. Now, this is more, I'm going to give you two kind of tactical answers here. So number one is ongoing content, okay? So if somebody, for example, they booked an appointment with you 2 months from now, that's a lot of time for them to change their mind. That's a lot of time for them to think otherwise. That's a lot of time for them to do research or maybe see something that might push them the other way and getting them to reconsider, right? And a lot of times, like people are like, well, it's just a $50 deposit. Like, I don't want to risk it. They can keep that, whatever. So you want to create ongoing content. So just continuing to share your reviews, getting more reviews, client reactions, more work, posting your most updated things. And so that way, because they booked with you, you damn know that they're going to continue following you for the 2 months, like scrutinizing like everything, right? Scrutinizing is probably the wrong word, but they're going to like critique everything. Like, oh my God, like I'm really nervous. I'm afraid. Like, is this right? They're going to have all of these questions and thoughts. And the more that you can just build that trust with ongoing content, the better it's obviously going to be. And then the second thing is reminders, and then I'm going to put like automations as well, and then excitement. So what I mean by that is most people do really basic confirmations, and it's just like this long paragraph like, oh, by the way, like I have a no-show policy if you don't show up, right? And that doesn't do anything besides just reiterate your policies, and that's great, right? You should have that, but there should be parts of your process where you also get them really excited, right? So for example, a couple of weeks, depending on when the time is, you can set up automations. You can have an assistant do this. You can also do this if your books aren't super full, you have the time. Getting them really excited is like you send them a selfie video, right? It's like, hey Jenna, like I'm really excited to see you in the next couple of weeks here. I know we spoke about your goals and you're going over this, and I just really can't wait for you to come in and we're gonna have your dream brows ready. That gets them really excited. Let's just say like a week before, you can send them another reminder, right? One of my favorite things to actually do with a lot of our clients too is if you are experiencing a lot of like no-shows or last minute cancellations, like if you can send something the day before or even the morning of, if it's like a later time, you can do like a selfie video, like, hey, or you just even take a picture of yourself and the station. It's like, hey, Jenna, like I'm getting everything ready for our appointment tomorrow. I'm super excited. Let me know if you have any questions. But yeah, again, we're really excited to see you tomorrow. And now it's like, whoa, like this person's going above and beyond. Like I see their face, I hear their voice. And it's like you're taking that extra time and effort to put in that effort And it just, again, gets them really excited because, again, understanding the consumer psychology and behavior between lead in to booked appointment, they're very nervous right now. They still might be unsure. Okay. They might want to change their mind last minute, right? People could be really wishy-washy. I'm sure you've experienced that before. And so, again, you want to make sure that you have ongoing content, and then you want to just send them things that gets them like really, really excited about everything. You can also say something like, and we have like a gift that's waiting for you too at the end of the appointment, like something like that, right? Okay, now, long tangent, but let's jump over to close deal now. So the closed deal essentially means somebody has come in for their service and they are going to hopefully have a world-class experience with you, and then they pay you for the rest of the service, okay? So that's simply what it means. Somebody comes in, you close the deal, they paid you in full, and the only reason why people would get stuck here is that they don't perform a good service. Like, that's the only reason, and what you want to do is track, most importantly, you want to track all clients, okay? The issue here is that most people look at their business as a one and done model where there's no clear like next step. So obviously, let me just highlight this as well, is that obviously if somebody comes in, you want to, there's like the aftercare. You want to check in with them to make sure everything's okay. You want to get the after results, right? You want to get like reviews. Okay. So there's so many things that happens after they close a deal. And just because they came in for the service doesn't mean that your relationship with them ends. And going back to what I was saying is that most people look at their business as a one and done model. Like, okay, they come in for the browse. I won't see them again for another 3 years. But where the money is, okay, is here. Making them a repeat customer. And if you aren't staying tracked, and if you don't understand who's in your closed deal segment of your sales pipeline, it's going to be really hard for you to like, wait, who came in already? Who did I already ask to come in for another service? Okay. You want to get them to be a repeat customer, because if they had a world-class experience with you, like, why wouldn't they want to come back and get something else done? So if you offer brows and you also do lips and liner and paramedical and scars and stretch marks and maybe even SMP, right? You want to set up a system that gets them to come back to become a repeat customer. Because why would you only want to make 500 from one deal when you could potentially make 900 for 2 services, or even 1,500 for 3 services if you offer multiple? And so this basically means somebody comes in, so for another service. So let's say you close the deal, they paid you 500, they move here. Once you successfully have brought them in for another service, and we have other videos on how to create awesome referral programs and credit strategies to get somebody to come back in very easily and incentivize them. So just check out our channel if you want to see some of those. But again, you want to get people to become a repeat customer. And why people get stuck is that they look at their business as a one and done model, and they don't have a proper system to turn somebody who is already a closed deal, an existing customer, into a repeat customer. So this, again, is where most of the money is made, but where most people do not focus on. Okay. And so that is really it. This is the entire sales process of somebody who is a complete stranger, taking them all the way to the point where they become a repeat customer. Okay. So one part that I just really want to highlight here, I'm going to make this a nice different color here. So we kind of look at this process, right? If we kind of zoom out a little bit. Okay. This is no trust, full trust. Okay. Think of it like that. Okay. And I really want to break down the psychology of sales a bit here and why understanding this process works so much. So again, going back to the mistakes that most beauty pros and artists make is that once they get a new lead, they think, oh my God, this person trusts me and they're ready to buy. I'm just going to send them my website and then they're just going to book on their own, right? I'm going to send them a deposit link and they're ready to buy. When you look at it, zoomed out, somebody in lead in, they have no trust with you. So why would they spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars? They're just inquiring, right? And all the way over here is when they have the full trust with you, because if they didn't trust you, they wouldn't be paying you money and becoming a repeat customer, right? And so think of each stage as building more trust and getting them to the point where they have this full trust with you. You want to get them over this finish line, right? So from lead in, you want to get them to just simply respond to you. You want to ask very low commitment, non-aggressive salesy questions. You're just learning more about that client. You're just learning more about that lead. What are their challenges? What are their goals? What are they looking for? Why are they looking to do this now? How long have they been thinking about this? What style are they trying to go after, right? Is there a specific occasion or scenario that they're looking to get this done for? So many of these questions. And so you're just adding a little bit of trust, okay? If they're not ready, then you want to continue following up with them. Okay, you just want to continue building that trust. And so we'll have more videos for this, but anytime that you have something new and exciting, that is an opportunity to follow up. So if somebody says like, not right now, now's not the right time, a really good question could be something like, okay, totally understand. Would you be open to hearing more about our promotions when we do release them in the future? I can get you added to our exclusive list and you'll be one of the first to know out of our future opportunities and deals that we have going on. I would say like 9 out of 10 times people say like, yeah, 100%. So that gives you the permission to follow up. And then you just want to simply give them a reason, but not making it super salesy. It's like, hey, like we have 20% off. Do you want to buy? It's like, hey, we just launched our spring promo and I know you are on an exclusive list and we talked about it before. And I immediately thought of you. Are you still open to discussing how we can help you with your dream browse? So many ways that you can do that, right? So you're just building more trust. And then you get them to the consultation. So the consultation, again, you're not rushing the sale. You're basically saying you're trying to meet them either in person or virtually so they know what you look and sound like. You build a rapport, you address their objections and challenges, answering all their questions and getting to the point where they're like, okay, like this person is like, they're knowledgeable, they know what they're doing, and it seems like they really acknowledged and heard me. Like I do trust them a little bit more. And then you get them to book the appointment, pay the deposit. You're almost at that finish line, but you still need to build trust with that ongoing content, reminders and automations, and just personalized text that gets them really excited. Okay, you guys can even go above and beyond about this. I love taking inspiration from other industries, right? We actually used to work with a lot of dentists. And what are dentists usually known for? Sending postcards, right? Like physical postcards to your home. And they would always send it as like the reminders, like, hey, your 6-month cleaning is coming up, or we can't wait to see you in the next couple of months here. So if somebody is, for example, booking a couple of weeks out, why not send them something nice and handwritten? It costs you a couple of cents. I know it does take a little bit of time, but in the beginning, especially if you're empty, you have to do the things that are unscalable and getting your book to the point where it's completely full, and then you can start toning things back a little bit. And so you want to continue building the trust because, again, just because somebody paid you a deposit does not mean that they're ready to book with you. And then you want to have a world-class experience here, okay? I forgot to mention like why people get stuck here is that once they get the money, they think that the job's done and then they just kind of like do the bare minimum when in fact you should be providing them a world-class experience with the intention of getting them to pay you for another service. So rather than making 500 for a client, you could be making 2,000, right? All right. So this next part, I want to talk about leaks in the sales process. What do I mean by leaks? So a reason why somebody could also not get to the next stage could simply be due to a variety of things. And I'm going to show you the most common ones, okay? So I'm running out of space here, but so I'm going to try to make a color that stands out. So let me see if it's a, let me do like an orange here, okay? Okay, I'm going to move this here. Responding too slow. This is a big issue. We have a saying in the industry where it's speed to lead, meaning the quicker that you're able to get to somebody, the higher likelihood of them actually wanting to book that appointment with you, okay? And so if somebody is in responded and they ask you a question or they responded, you need to respond immediately. Like usually it's like seconds or minutes, okay? I get it. You might be in between clients. You might have like a crazy day, but I just want to emphasize that the quicker that you're able to get to somebody, the higher likelihood of them choosing you compared to their thousands of options, okay? And so responding too slow is one of the biggest leaks. And so speed to lead, I just want to emphasize that. If you, again, are super busy, I highly recommend just getting an assistant as well so that they can help you with a lot of that. And so the responding too slow is one thing, okay? Consultations. Not having a consultation process, okay? What I mean here is that I've seen a lot of consultations, and I'll be blunt, they're terrible. There's no structure. You need to have a very structured consultation process where you're guiding somebody through understanding what their goals and challenges are and really bridging the gap of, okay, this is where you are now. This is what you're looking for. Yes, I can help you. Okay. We actually have another video on our YouTube channel with the full consultation sales script. I highly recommend watching that. We go word for word, but not having a consultation process will kill you because somebody's on the phone, right? And or FaceTime or Zoom, and they're really excited. But if you are really awkward and you don't know what to say and you're just asking like very basic questions, it could actually harm you more than help you. And so you want to ask like the right questions. You want to have a very structured process. And every client that comes in, the consultation process, the structure remains very similar and the same. Okay. And then I forgot this one is not having FU follow-up process. Okay. So what I was talking about before is that because many people don't focus on leads who say not right now, they leave a lot of money on the table. So you want to have a good follow-up process too. Set reminders. Maybe it's once per week, every Sunday night, you're going through your follow-up pipeline and just making sure that everything is followed up with. If somebody said they weren't ready yet, you can check in with them, giving them another opportunity to buy. Okay, so also not having a follow-up process is going to be crucial. And then the leaks between booked appointment and closed deal, like I said, it's going to be the ongoing content and not building enough trust. Like you cannot just depend on somebody, just because somebody paid a deposit with you and they have an appointment, let's say 2 months out, you cannot depend on them showing up 100%. They could change their mind. There's so many scenarios that could happen. So you want to make sure that you have a good process to continue to build trust, okay? And then the biggest leak, obviously, between closed deal and repeat customer is not having a process or a system or incentives to bring somebody back in once they've already paid you money. And so just to close this out, you might be thinking, oh my God, like this is a lot. Like, how do I manage all of this? And so at the end of the day, what I highly recommend is investing into a CRM, which is a customer relationship management system. And that is going to be a dashboard where you can actually build sales pipelines like this, and you can track who's the new lead. You can drag them to the next section. So you can also use Google Sheets or Trello if you're looking for a really budget-friendly solution, or if you actually want one that's specifically for the beauty and PMU industry, we have built one ourselves at Highstoke. And so if you're interested in that, click on the link in the description, and our team can actually provide you with a CRM, builds everything out for you with the automations, helping you track everything, how much money you're making down to the dollar in day. And it's absolutely amazing. And it's what thousands of our clients are using day to day right now to grow and scale their business. So click on the link in the description to book a consultation, and our team can share all of the details about that if that's what you're looking for. But there's so many different CRMs out there. Investing into one is going to keep you sane for sure, because again, you're going to need to track all of this on a daily basis. And so, yeah, at the end of the day, this is the entire sales process. Okay, this is 7 stages here, and by understanding that the one all the way on the left side is people who don't know who you are, they just inquired, there's no trust yet. And it takes a very specific journey and process to push them to the finish line where they have that full trust with you and wanting to book with you. It takes time. It takes a process. And there's a process between each stage like we spoke about. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. And in a future video, we're actually going to break down some math, meaning like if you were to spend X amount on ads, like how many leads, and then what's the conversion between lead and responded, and then responded to follow-up, and then follow to consultation, and then consultation to booked appointment, and then close it to repeat customers. And so by having this pipeline, first, you're just number one, the priority one is being able to track everything. And you don't know anything if you're not measuring all of this data, right? And then from there, you're going to, again, start collecting that data. Like, okay, out of all the leads that I'm getting, how many of them are moving to the responded stage? And so if it's like 10% of people responding, you can understand that it's the questions that you're probably asking. Like they're not responding because you might be too salesy. You're trying to push them to your website. So many different scenarios. And so by tracking this, you're like, okay, well, how come only 5% of people are responding? Like there's something wrong with my process there. Okay. And then from responded and follow up to consultation, let's just say out of 100 people that responded, you're only able to book 3 consultations, which is 3%, which is abysmal. You're like, okay, like maybe I'm not asking nurturing questions. Maybe I'm not asking the qualifying questions. Maybe I'm not asking them what they're going for, or what their challenges or what their goal is and why they're looking to get this done now, or have they been looking at other options before, or how long have they been thinking about this, right? And so again, tracking that is going to help you understand that. And then if you look at consultation to booked appointment, let's say you have 30 consultations, but you only book 3 appointments. Again, that's abysmal, right? Terrible numbers. So now you can say like, oh, okay, well, out of all the consultations, I only booked 3, so it must be my consultation process. Maybe I'm not asking the right questions. Maybe I'm nervous. Maybe I'm not asking for the sale or asking for the deposit once they're on there. It must be my consultation process. So then you fix that, right? And then if you look at your booked appointments, let's say you book 30 appointments and then only 15 of them show up, and you're like, 50% of them aren't showing up, they're no showing. Like that must be something with your trust process and your reminders. And then between closed deal and repeat customers, let's say you have 100 new clients over the span of a few months and only 2 of them become a repeat customer. Like, okay, well, maybe my system to turn somebody from a closed deal to a repeat customer is broken and I need to fix that. But all of that is impossible unless you're tracking everything in all of the different stages. And so priority 1 right now is just to start tracking everything. And again, if you want our specific CRM for the beauty and PMU business, click on the link in the description and we're going to share all of the awesome details about it and actually build it out for you as well. But that is essentially it. I know that was a bit of a longer training here. We geeked out on a lot of different things, and this looks like chicken scratch at this point, but I hope this opens up your eyes and brings to the awareness that most issues come from rushing the sales process. A lot of people like to blame external factors, like I said in the beginning, whether it's the economy or there's like competition or, the pricing and all of these different things when it's actually just the sales process. So if you fix certain things here, I guarantee you'll make a ton of money. And a lot of times it might just be 1 stage. It could be 2. But by tracking this, you're going to get all that data and really understand what's missing or what's broken as part of your process. So with that said, I hope that was helpful. If you guys like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we're going to attach the link to everything that you need to know in the description as well. And we'll see you next time.